Sangat Ji, the shabad that we're going to be singing now by Bhagat Kabir Ji. This is Bhagat Kabir Ji actually sharing an episode of their life with us. ਇਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਗਤ ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਬੀਤਿਆ, what Bhagat Kabir Ji went through and experienced in their own life, we're going to be singing in this shabad. Ganga Gusain Gehar Gambir Janjeer Band Kar Khare Kabir, where Bhagat Kabir Ji is telling us of that time, and many of us may be able to relate to this in some form of way or at some level. And I'm sure it's not going to be at this level, but at some level. Kabir Ji is telling us that there was a time in their life, because Kabir Ji would say to people that I've reached the highest point that anybody can reach in life. People talk about being kings within this world, but Kabir Ji is saying, but I've become that true king. That I've become that Abhinasi Raja. Abhinasi Raja means that Raja, that king that cannot be destroyed. That king that will live forever. And people, when they would hear these words that Kabir Ji saying that I've become that king of all kings that is going to live forever. And some of you might think that, is that not speaking out of arrogance or ego? No, because Bhagat Kabir Ji is just telling their actual true state of where they are. You can only be speaking in ego if you're not really in that place. But Bhagat Kabir Ji says that Ab to jaye chadhe singhasan mil hai sarang pani, Ram Kabira ek bhai hai koi na sake pachani. He's saying that ab to jaye, that now I've gone where chadhe, climbed singhasan, climbed upon that throne. Mil hai sarang pani, I've now sat on that throne, meaning that now I've met Waheguru. Ram Kabira, there was Kabir, but now when I met Ram Kabira ek bhai, now we are one. We're not separate anymore. Ram Kabira ek bhai, koi na sake pachani, that nobody can now tell us apart. Nobody can tell who is God and who is Kabir. We are one now. That's the state Kabir Ji was in. So he would say that I'm the Abhinasi Raja, that I'm that king that is never going to be destroyed, because Kabir Ji has actually found his true self. People couldn't understand what he's saying. He's saying that, so what they went and done was, people went and complained to the emperor of that time, who was Sikandar Lodi. So before the Mughals came and invaded, the first Mughal that came and invaded was Babur. But before them, there was 3 kings from the Lodi family. And Sikandar Lodi was the emperor of that time in India. People went and complained to him. They said, you should be concerned. There's this guy called Kabir. He's calling himself a king that cannot be destroyed. And Sangat Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says to us that Jisno Bakshe, let's see if you can complete the lines with me. Jisno Bakshe Sifat Sala Nanak Patshahi Patshah. Look what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying to us. Jisno Bakshe, those that have been blessed with. Jisno Bakshe Sifat Sala, those that have been blessed with the sift, with the praise. Salah. Salah means praise as well, with the praise of God. And you might think that, is that all it takes? To have the praise of God upon your lips. To have the praise of God upon your tongue is no small thing. Think about it. When something challenging happens in your life, Think about it. When something happens to you in your life and you did not expect it to go that way and you didn't want it to go that way, and that happens anyway, are you still able to praise God in that moment? Are you still able to say wow to that Creator? Because Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji says to us that nar chahat kach aure ki aure pei chitvat rahe uth gaur nanak fansi gal pari. Nar, this human being, chahat kach, I wanted something, but aure ki aure pei, but something else completely different happened instead. So I'm left there now, complaining, thinking, cursing. Why? Why me? Why did this have to happen to me? And in that moment, upon the tongue it isn't va. You're not saying wow. You're not praising Waheguru anymore. So that's why Guru Nanak Sache Paatshah says that those that have got the praise of God upon their tongue at all times, Jisno Bakshe Sifat Salah Nanak Patshahi Patshah. Guru Sahib Ji saying Nanak, a slight little pause there, means Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying Nanak Patshahi Patshah, they are the king of kings. Somebody goes to Sikandar Lodi and says that, what, you know what? This Kabir guy, he's always been a little crazy and different right from the beginning. There was time, it says, there's a Janam Sakhi of Bhagat Kabir Ji. Janam Sakhi means the life story of Bhagat Kabir Ji. And they say he was only about 5-6 years old, and he's sitting on this wall, and he's got his little friends around him, and Kabir Ji is being raised by a Muslim family. His parents' name was Nero and Nima. Cool names, right? Nero and Nima. He sat there on this wall and he's saying Ram, 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 Ram. And this mullah walks by. And a mullah is basically a Muslim teacher. A mullah is walking by and he said, "Oh, aaki bolda hai?" He said, "What are you saying? What are you singing?" He goes, "Ram Ram thoda bolna hai." He goes, "You're not to say Ram." He goes, you're a Muslim child. And 5-6 years of age, Bhagat Kabir Ji, there's a line that they said. And the line was, "Butt pooj pooj Hindu moe, Turk moe sir nai." A 5-6-year-old child is saying to a Muslim teacher of his town, is saying, "You're telling me to be quiet and stop saying God's name." He goes, "Where the Hindus are dead from inside because they are just there worshipping statues, and there's you guys bowing your head down towards these qabra, towards this place where certain peers have died, and now you've made a little tomb there and you're bowing your head towards there and you're telling me to be quiet." That was Kabir Ji. And I often say, it's easy today to come here and do matha tek to the likes of Bhagat Kabir Ji that sit in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But most people today, even that identify as Sikh, would struggle with him today. It'd be too much for them. Because he was crazy. Not my words, his own words. We're going to sing that shabad later, where he tells the world that, yeah, I'm crazy. You lot are the ones that are okay, because I'm the crazy guy. But imagine saying that to this teacher, and he nods his head, and he's furious, and he walks off. The mullah does. So Kabir's grown up with that reputation. And see if I can remember the slok. Bhagat Kabir Ji, he said that, Muslims have started to now believe that God is in this one little area of what is called Kaaba, the Mecca, the black box. He goes, Muslims, they now think that God's sitting in this little one place. And he said, "You know what happened to me one day?" Kabir Ji said, Kabir Ji goes, "Guess what happened to me?" He goes, "Let me tell you a little story." Because Kabir Hajj Kabe Hon Jaye Tha. He goes, I was on my way to Hajj to do pilgrimage at Mecca. He goes, guess who I ended up bumping into en route? Because you won't believe this. Aage milya khudai. Yeah, I met God. I didn't even get to Kaaba yet. Bumped into God. Aage milya khudai. They say in journalism, they say that sarcasm is the lowest form of wit. But try telling Kabir Ji that. He ain't having any of it. And then he goes, guess what? He goes, God says to me, where are you off to? He goes, I was going to go and see you. Because what are you doing here? God said, he says, you know what? God said to me after that, he goes, Sai mujhse lad padya. He goes, oh, lad paya main na Rab. He goes, he kicked off with me. He goes, God goes, tujhe kin furmai guy. He goes, who told you that I'm just sitting there? This is Kabir Ji. You tell me now if people are going to be able to handle him, if he was around today. It's easy today speaking about Bhagats. They weren't no normal people that just fit into society and that just went along with what everyone else is doing. So what happens? Sikandar Lodi called him. He said, look, what are you on about? I'm the king. Why are you calling yourself the king? And he said, you've got to stop calling yourself the king whilst I'm the king here. Kabir Ji says, I can't, because I am the king. I can't stop saying I'm the king if I'm the king. So, Ganga Gasayan Geher Gambir, this is the shabad we're going to sing now. Bibi Gurpreet's going to sing. He said, what Sikandar Lodi said then to his servants was that Janjeer bandh kar, tie him up in chains. He was tied in chains. Janjeer bandh kar, Janjeer means chains. Janjeer bandh kar khare Kabir. They said, go and take him and put him into that Ganga Gusayan Geher Gambir. Ganga means the Ganges, the mother Ganges. And Kabir Ji saying, dekh lo, a Hindu inu maa kende a Ganga nu. E maa to inna vadda paap karaun lage a. They're going to make this mother do such a sin to take the life of a Bhagat. Ganga Gasayan Geher Gambir, Janjeer bandh kar khare Kabir. But the next line is the essence. Marna dige, tan kahe ko darai. Sangat ji, you know when you come on this path, when you come onto this path of Guru Nanak, then you can say to people, it's okay, you can do and say whatever you want to me. Because manna dige, my mind is not now going to waver. Tan kahe ko darai. You can do whatever you want to me. You can try and put as much fear as you want to me, to this body. Because but my mind is what you need to get to, and that's not going to waver. That's where we want to be. We want to do that ardas. O Kalgitar Sache Paat Ji, O Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paat Ji, Rach Rach Tako. Karo Shingar, Bhagat Namdev Ji is saying that I'm going to decorate myself for you, O Waheguru, with those divine qualities. But you know what? I was thinking about this one day. And that one day was actually about 8 years ago, when I was contemplating this very shabad that Anup Singh sang. And I thought, you know what? O Guru Gobind Singh Ji Paatshah Ji, that we want to feel like that. We want to feel like that bride to you that decorate ourselves with our kakar. I decorate myself for you with my kada, with my case, with my kanga, with my kirpan, with my kachara. Rach rach tako karo shingar. Let me shingar myself. Let me decorate myself for Guru Gobind Singh. Man na dige. Tan kahe ko darai. Sangat ji, I've had messages in the past of somebody that's fallen in love with Guru Gobind Singh, and a sister of ours has messaged me saying that, Virji, I've started tying at the Dastar now. I live up north, there's not much sangat here. And you messaged back saying that's amazing, you know, keep going. She said, yeah, but my own father, who is a Sikh, comes and rips that Dastar off my head and slaps me because he doesn't want me to take on this path. Nobody said that coming onto this path is going to be easy. Somebody will get their challenge in that form. So sometimes we take this Dastar for granted. There's children out there, there's women out there that they're not allowed by their family to even wear this Dastar. I know of somebody that came into this path, onto this path, was yearning to wear a Dastar and was yearning so deep to wear a Dastar. But a family just said, we're going to disown you if you wear a Dastar. And with Guru's grace, she got married, and literally the next day she started to adorn a Dastar. Because you know, when Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, Sache Paatshah Ji, somebody I was speaking to just this week gone, he said, Viji, I'm really struggling. He's got his case, he wears a patka. He said, I'm really struggling with lust. He goes, I end up doing some really silly things that I shouldn't be doing, and I go out there and do certain things. He said, I feel weak and it feels like I can't stop. And I did ardas to Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, I don't know what to say to him. Whilst I'm talking to him, I did ardas. I said, Maharaj, I don't know what to say to him. I fell from inside. I did ardas. I said, everything I know about the mind psychology, Dharam, sometimes it fails you in that moment. You don't know what to say. And in that moment, it's an ardas that saves us. He didn't know. I was doing an ardas as he's crying to me. I said, Maharaj, what shall I say to him? And as I did that ardas, I said, just wait a minute. I said, have you got any Dastar kapda at home? He said, yes. I'm living alone at the moment, away from my family. I go, if you got this, he goes, yes, I've got Dastar. I go, it doesn't matter how you know how to, if you know how to tie, you don't know how it doesn't matter. I said, stand in that mirror, start tying that Dastar. Guru Sahib Ji says to us, Pag chunai kar bandei, it's in the Ratname. Kanga dono waqt kar pag chunai kar bandei. Guru Sahib Ji says, take each lad, because each lad is forming the hand of our Guru. Each lad, page. And I said, look at yourself in the mirror as you tie that Dastar and say, Hey Kalgitar Sache Paatshah, main tera hi puttar ha. Oh Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I'm your son. Oh Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Kalgitar Sache Paatshah Ji, as I see your reflection of my face in this mirror, I'm actually seeing you. Main eh chehra keve le jawa eho jiyan jagah uppar. How do I take this face to those places? Ask that question to yourself in the mirror. When Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, Sache Paatshah Ji, Sangat Ji, I'm telling you, this Dastar is no small thing. Decorate yourself, adorn yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, Guru Gobind Singh, I'm your child. You only allow me to go to those places where I can still go there and look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm your child. Main tera hi bachcha haan. I'm carrying you with me. Sangat Ji, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji tied a dumala. The previous Gurus used to tie something called a seli topi, a very small wrap of a Dastar. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Paatshah Ji adorned a dumala, a big Dastar, with a keski underneath. And then the Taddis came and sang, they were in awe. These were Muslim Taddis. Natha Mala and Abdullah. They were singing Taddi War, they were saying, Do talwari baddiyan, ek miri di, ek piri di, ek azmat di, ek raj di, ek rakhi kare waziri di, pag teri ki Jahangir di. They said, that turban that Jahangir ties is nothing. Look at your Dastar, Guru Hargobind Sahib Sache Paatshah. Sangat Ji, man na digay. Tan kahe ko daraye. Kabir Ji said that you can try and put fear into this body, but my mind is not going to waver now. If you're not there, let's turn this into an ardas. If your mind is still wavering, when we sing this, turn it into an ardas, make it into now a plea, a cry, saying that don't let my mind waver from your Sikhi. Charan kamal chit rehe samaye. I always say to my children, I said, look, I might not be able to be the best father because of my own little struggles of mental health and whatever else. And I said, but one thing, I said, when you adorn this dastar, it's not just a piece of cloth. This is your crown. And you know what? You instill these things into your children. And my youngest, well, he's not my youngest now, so he's the middle one, Bhagat Singh, he's at school. So we've had this conversation just a few days ago. He just came up, Kudrati, I was very emotional about the Dastar. He was at school and he's had a bump. He's, fallen over or something. He's got a huge scuff and a bruise on his forehead. And the teacher said, they took him into the reception and we got a phone call. They said, your son won't let us take his Dastar off to put an ice pack there. He said, I'm not taking it off. And I said, yeah, just say well done to him. I said, he doesn't need to take it off, he's good. I said, if he's comfortable, if he's happy, if he's saying that I'm not taking it off, he knows. His heart will tell him. His heart will tell him, if he's not hurt that bad, Guru Gobind Singh will speak to him from inside. Said, for this one, you don't need to take this crown off. If we just plant these little seeds, because I always beat myself up, I'm not a good father. But sometimes we don't realize, just these little seeds, they go a long way. So Sangat ji, sing this shabad. Let's make it into an ardas. Don't let my mind waver. Let me become in that very way that Kabir Ji was. Let me have that about my Sikhi Saroop. That I won't let anyone, anything touch it and take it away from me. Charan kamal chit rahyo samaye. Allow my mind to be immersed in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's charan at all times. Ganga ki Lehar Meri Ttutte Janjeer. He said that very Ganga that was supposed to, this is what happened. Sometimes we break, our faith breaks. But no, say if I do this, say if I give it, say, you know what? I can't. You know what? I have to give in this time. This time I have to give in. Kabir Ji didn't give in. He said, it's fine. They said, stop calling yourself a king. He said, no. He said, throw me in. They threw him into the Ganga. They're waiting for him to drown. He's chained. He cannot swim. He said, Ganga ki Lehar. He goes, but what happened? He goes, those very waves that were supposed to drown me, those very waves became my savior and brought me up onto the top of that Ganga. I was floating on there. I didn't drown. Ganga ki Lehar Meri Ttutte Janjeer. He goes, my chains broke. The waves of that Ganga actually broke my chains. I was floating on top. Mirg challa par baithe Kabir. It was like you would have seen how some saints sit on this lion skin or a deer skin to meditate. He said, I was sat on top of that Ganga, on top of that river, like I was meditating on this deer skin. Keh Kabir ko sangna saath. He goes, there's times when it feels like nobody's with you that will hold your hand to save you, and sometimes that's your own family. Jal thal rakhan hai Raghunath. He said, but there is always that protector, God, that is with you. Sangat ji, there's times when we get shackled in the chains of our own demons, with the demon of anger, with that demon of slander. But you know what? We want to open our heart so the wave of our Guru's wisdom comes and breaks those shackles and takes them away for us. We want Bani to speak to us like that. Do this ardas today. Say, Guru Sahib Ji, let the wave of your shabad come and break those shackles that I'm shackled in. So let's sing this shabad now that you know what it means.
Meri जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर। मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर, मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर, मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर,
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर,
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर, मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर, टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, मेरी टूटी जंजीर। गंगे गुसायन घर गंभीर,
गंग गुसायन कर गंभीर,
गंगे गुसायन घर गंभीर,
गंग गुसायन कर गंभीर,
जंजीर बांध कर खड़े कबीर, जंजीर बांध कर खड़े
कबीर,
टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर,
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर
टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर। मन नाट गए
जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर।
कहत वीर को संग न साथ,
कहत कबीर को संग न साथ,
कहत वीर को संग न साथ,
कहत कबीर को संग न साथ।
जल थल रात ने है रघुनाथ,
जल थल राखन है रघुनाथ।
जल थल रात ने है रघुनाथ।
जल थल राखन है रघुनाथ।
मेरी टूटी जंजीर, मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर।
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर,
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर। गंगा की लहर
टूटी जंजीर, मेरी टूटी जंजीर,
जंजीर
टूटी
मेरी टूटी जंजीर।
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर,
मृगशाला और बैठे कबीर।
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर,
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर।
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर,
मृगशाला पर बैठे कबीर।
टूटी जंजीर,
मेरी टूटी जंजीर। टूटी जंजीर मेरी टूटी जंजीर।
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर, गंगा की लहर,
गंगा की लहर मेरी टूटी जंजीर। गंगा की लहर,
गंगा की लहर,
गंगा
की लहर। जाका मीत साजन है समिया, जाका मीत साजन है समिया, जाका मीत साजन है समिया,
जाका मीत साजन है समिया।
जाका मीत साजन है समिया,
जाका मीत साजन है समिया।
इस जन को का की कमिया, इस जन को का की कमिया, इस जन को का की कमिया, इस जन को का जाका मीत साजन है समिया,
जाका
जाका मीत साजन है समिया जाका
मीत साजन है समिया
जाका मीत साजन है समिया
जाका मीत साजन है समिया
किस जाने को का की कमिया
इस जाने को का की कमियां
किस जाने को का की कमिया
इस जान को का की कमियां
जाका मीत साजन है समिया
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 जाको रस हर रस है आयो
जाको रस हर रस है आयो
जाको रस हर रस है आयो
रस हर रस है आयो
सोन रस नाही लपटायो
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 जाका मीत साजन है समिया
जाका मीत साजन है समिया
जाका मीत साजन है समिया
जाका मीत साजन है समिया ਆਕਾ ਮੀਤੇ